Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Pretty soon, you may be taking these to the bottle return centers. There's a new push in Lansing that could expand 10-cent bottle deposits to water bottles. The proposed bill passed through a Senate committee this week, and voters could decide on the changes. Glad you're with us tonight at 6. I'm Devin Skillian.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Ty Steele joins us live. And Ty, there's some uncertainty on if this bill will pass.
Yeah, it's got a long way to go, and since the 1970s, you return this pop bottle and other beverages and you get a deposit, but you don't get anything for your water bottle. However, Senate Bill 1112 would change that. Here's what's inside that bill and what would happen if it became law and what it would take for it to become law. Right now in Michigan, you only get a 10-cent bottle deposit for soft drinks, carbonated beverages, and alcoholic drinks, not water bottles.
We could do a lot better. We're not one of the leading recycling states in the nation right now.
Northville conservation advocate Dave Drennan supports Senate Bill 1112 that just passed through a Senate committee on Thursday, which aims to expand the deposit to include water bottles.
We're filling up the landfill, so right down, pulling in here is probably heading to the landfill, that large truck. Well, there's going to be more and more of those large trucks headed to the landfill if we don't get this reusable, recyclable materials out of the landfill.
Some Michiganders say it would definitely help. If this goes before voters, should voters pass this? Should we get our 10 cents for our water bottles?
Yes, because I think people would be more likely to recycle them.
Others aren't so sure.
I think if they expanded it to water bottles, it would have less waste.
I don't know. You know, it comes down to the apathy of people, honestly. So, but who knows? You know, maybe.
If the bottle law expansion became law, consumers would be able to return containers to any store where containers with a deposit are sold, and stores would be required to accept all containers, even if they don't sell that specific product, like water bottles. So exactly what would it take for this to become law? Well, it's got a long way to go. Right now it's being discussed in the Senate, passed a committee last night. It's still got to be voted on in the Senate. If it passes there, then it would go to the House. It's got to pass there. Then it would go to voters in the 2026 general election, where you would get to decide if you get 10 cents for your water bottle. So a lot of hurdles it still has to go. There's a lot of nuances to this law. There's another subsidiary law, Senate Bill 1113, that would create a fund to fund this. All of that is on clickondetroit.com right now. Just search for the story. For now, we're live in downtown Detroit. Ty Steele, Local 4, back to you.
Okay, Ty, thank you.
Charges filed in connection with a home invasion earlier in the area in Oakland County. Prosecutors say 21-year-old Vania Valdez is one of several suspects seen on security camera footage trying to break into a home in Novi. Sean Lay with us live now as investigators believe she is linked to a group that has been targeting homes in Oakland County. Sean.
And could be the key to other arrests being made. So who is she and where did she come from?
She is from Chile. She initially gave us some false information when we arrested her, but we reached out to our partners at Immigration and Customs, and they were able to identify that she was a Chilean national.
Vania Herrera Valdez caught by Novi police this week as she bailed from a van speeding from Novi police. Novi dealing with 4 recent high-end home burglaries done by professional teams. Novi sounding the alarm to homeowners, and this week a homeowner watched a crew on his security camera break into his home in real time. Police finally getting a head start. 4 others ran from the van, but Valdez was arrested and charged. Finally, a dent made in these cases plaguing Oakland County.
How big is it of capturing one suspect?
Catching one suspect is huge because not only does it show, that we're actively pursuing these people, that we're willing to put everything out there to arrest these people, but it really shows, it really matches who we think these people are. I mean, we had intel that these were these Chilean transnational groups that were out doing it, and this just goes to confirm that.
All right, back here live. So just one arrest out of this one team that's out there, out of many teams. So many teams remain out there. They wouldn't be here unless they were having success in these home invasions, Devin. So police are reminding everyone, again, stay vigilant and call them to give them a bit of a head start to jump on these things once these things go down. Back to you.
Well, let's hope this is the start of finally cracking this long-running problem.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, Sean.
A statewide police operation has taken down an international human trafficking ring that's been operating in Metro Detroit. Authorities raided several illicit massage parlors in St. Clair Shores, Sterling Heights, and Detroit, arresting 5 people and rescuing close to a dozen women police say were allegedly forced into commercial sex work. Police say tips from the public helped bring this case down.
One person being trafficked is way too many. But it really does truly take not only us in the criminal justice community, but the residents across this state to assist us as well.
5 people are facing charges ranging from conducting a criminal enterprise to keeping a house of prostitution.
The case moves forward for the woman charged in the crash that killed 2 children and hurt 15 others. Marcella Chittister facing several charges, including second-degree murder. Today in court, defense attorneys made several motions. The Detroit News reports one of the motions was for a venue change to another county for the trial. Crash happened back in April 20th at the Swan Boat Club in Monroe County's Berlin Township. Prosecutors say Chittister's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit at the time. The trial is set to begin in March.
The Department of Agriculture will test raw milk from dairy silos around the nation. H5N1 bird flu has been spreading in dairy cattle since March. The first round of testing is scheduled to start the week of December 16th through some states, though some states, I should say, have already started testing that complies with the requirements. California, Colorado, and Michigan have had infected herds. Mississippi, Oregon, and Pennsylvania have not reported any problems. Well, as a parent, it can be hard to know what your teenager is up to at all time, but one local police department is launching a new program that will help parents who are concerned their child could be using drugs and alcohol.
Our Will Jones shows us how the program works and what to do if you want in. Will?
It's called a Parental Evaluation Resource Kit. It's called a PERK kit, and it's a resource for families that are concerned about substance abuse issues or the use of tobacco in their home.
The Dearborn Police Department is now offering a free kit for parents to test their children for drugs, alcohol, and nicotine.
How big of an issue is drug use?
You know, it's an issue for all communities. It's not just something in Dearborn. It's in every corner of this country. There's substance abuse issues, and it's not just the street drugs, right? We're talking, this also tests for alcohol as well, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But it's also nicotine. I mean, vaping, you know, if you go into any vape shop, Will, the #1 flavors are cotton candy and cherry.
And you said you're a parent, and would this be something that you would use?
Yeah, absolutely. God, if I thought my child was involved in narcotic use or I had some concerns or questions, I wouldn't hesitate to get a test kit because I want to know the answers. I want to be informed to make the right decisions.
So we wanted to test it out. Let's try the multi-drug urine test cup. Excuse me, I'll need some privacy for this part. After waiting 5 minutes for the results, you just take off this strip here. And you see the double bands. That means I've tested negative for a list of drugs.
Started with 100 test kits, and I want to see how successful it is, Will. If this is something that there's an overwhelming need for, then I'll find the funding to continue it.
Children's Hospital of Michigan psychologist Eric Herman says parents shouldn't shy away from talking to their kids about drugs.
It's a bad problem, and if you get too far into it at a young age, it's indicative of lots of problems like not finishing school. It's an accelerant for mental health problems.
That's why Dearborn Police are including resources for families to get help with the kids. In Dearborn, Will Jones, Local 4.
All right, Will. President-elect Trump doubling down on his pick for defense secretary, calling Pete Hegseth a winner.
But this vote of confidence comes after a week of obstacles and headwinds in his bid to be part of Trump's cabinet. NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington tonight with details.
President-elect Trump today sitting for his first post-election network interview with NBC's Kristen Welker. Overnight, he accepted Fox News' Patriot of the Year award, reflecting on his election victory.
We had just a spectacular election.
Before calling his embattled Secretary of Defense pick Pete Hegseth a winner. The social media shout-out comes after Hegseth spent the week meeting with Senate Republicans and rejecting accusations about excessive drinking and a 2017 sexual assault allegation that he says was consensual. He was never charged. The president and vice president-elect standing by Hegseth.
We believe that Pete Hegseth is the right guy to lead the Department of Defense. That's why President Trump nominated him. we're not abandoning this nomination.
Multiple Republican sources have told NBC News roughly 6 GOP senators are not currently comfortable backing him. He can only lose 3.
We're going to earn those votes. We're fighting all the way through the tape.
The Trump choice for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, also facing pushback, with nearly 100 former national security officials signing a letter urging Senate leaders to hold closed-door hearings to review all information available to the U.S. government about Gabbard, writing that several of her past actions, quote, call into question her ability to deliver unbiased intelligence briefings, accusing her of aligning herself with Russian and Syrian officials after a trip to Syria. Tough questions over critical roles as global tensions and foreign wars test America's relationships around the world. President-elect Trump will be in Paris this weekend for the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral alongside other world leaders, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. It's the president-elect's first trip overseas since winning a second term. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, thanks, Alice.
The weekend is upon us. A lot going on, Christmas parties, all sorts of things, and we need the weather to cooperate.
Let's check in with Kim Adams, see what we've got coming our way. Kim?
It's a little chilly tonight. We got a few flurries out there, but things will improve as the weekend goes along. Right now, a beautiful shot of our downtown skyline with 31 degrees and then upper 20s for Ann Arbor, Pontiac, and also in Monroe. Winds have been picking up a little bit from time to time, gusting as high as 20-25 miles per hour. So that puts a little added chill into the air. And we have also got a few flurries flying around here and there, some of which are a bit heavier as you go up north of Lapeer and I-69, and then a few more right around the airport. But we're talking about just flurries, nothing that would affect travel. But I want to go in a little closer. Southgate, Taylor, a couple flurries there. And then as we zoom back out again, you can see just how spotty these flurries really are. The sun set tonight at 5:01, and that is going to be the earliest it will set again, which means our days, at least daylight anyway, get longer and longer. Now for the day tomorrow, some of the northern suburbs could get brushed by a little snow. The rest of us mostly cloudy skies. I'll talk more about that snow and where it could affect folks tomorrow morning. And then we're talking about maybe close to 50 degrees. I'll tell you when in just a few minutes.